Hi, we're in Vienna at the European Geosciences Union General Assembly. My name is Jennifer Skeen, and I'm from the University of California, Berkeley in the United States. Here at EGU, I'm going to be doing some hands-on activities for teaching evolution. These activities are from the Understanding Evolution website, which was created by the University of California Museum of Paleontology. The first activity we're going to do is for teaching natural selection, and we're going to be doing this by drawing fish. So this activity is for students probably through sort of primary school even through university. You can adjust this lesson to be more simple or more complex. Today we're going to look at natural selection and speciation. So this is sort of more for the secondary school level. The activity takes maybe 30 or 40 minutes to do, depending on discussion. And to do this activity, you just need some big stack of paper and pencils. And the students should have some idea of natural selection and what is involved, but they'll pick up on a lot of how natural selection happens throughout the activity. So the activity begins with a little bit of an introduction about what is natural selection and how it works. You can include here that natural selection requires that there is some variation in the population, that there is something called differential reproduction. So not every single individual will have the same number of babies. Some individuals will have more babies than others. You can also point out that in order to have natural selection, you need to have heredity. So individuals inherit some traits from their parents. So the activity starts with a fish, a drawing of a fish. And the students are instructed to copy the fish, to draw the fish. So you get a whole class full of fish, and the fish are a little bit different from one another. So that's showing that there's a little bit of variation in the population. And the teacher will select one fish, and that is the fish that has babies. So the only fish that survives to reproduce. And then the students will draw the offspring of that fish. And they'll continue to do this for maybe 4 or 5 generations. And each time the teacher selects a different fish from the population, and the teacher can select for a particular trait. So maybe choosing each time the fish with the biggest mouth or the fish with the biggest fins. So at the end, the students will be able to see how the fish has changed over generations because of natural selection. And in the activity that we'll be doing here, you see that we divided the class into 2 groups, and each group is being selected for a different trait. So you can see that the initial population of fish, it kind of divides into two different morphologies or shapes of fish. So that's to show speciation happening. And we end the lesson with a discussion about natural selection and how natural selection happens. So this activity is really to show students sort of how natural selection works. What are the things that happen, and hopefully to convince students that some of those misconceptions that they have about natural selection, some of those ideas that maybe the fish want to be a certain way or need to be a certain way or try to have a certain shape, that is not what happens in natural selection. It's a very different process than fish, trying to evolve in a particular direction. The second activity is called What Did T-Rex Taste Like? And the goal of this activity is to learn about how evidence can show you how organisms are related to each other. So students look at evidence data from living organisms and from fossils. They try to figure out who Tyrannosaurus rex is most closely related to. What is its closest relative? So using some data about things like, do the organisms have hair? Do they have a vertebral column? They try to use an evolutionary tree, which is a hypothesis of how the organisms are related. And they build this tree, they try to fit T-Rex onto the tree, they find that they don't have quite enough data to figure out where T-Rex belongs. So you add a few more characters of data and you figure out where T-Rex fits on the tree and find out what T-Rex probably tasted like if you had the opportunity to eat one. Thanks for joining us at EGU here in Vienna. If you're interested in learning more about these lessons or other lessons that are hands-on and help students learn about evolution, please visit the website Understanding Evolution.